This episode is also brought to you by Oddmost Pizza in Canby. Handmade, awesome pizza plus craft beer, wine, and cider delivered. Call them today at 503-263-8444.
Welcome to Now Hear This Canby,
Your source for news.
The threat of a possible teacher strike was avoided this week.
There's a new, irresistibly cute creature winning over fans, and its name is Scootaloo.
Sports.
It's like Lucy in the football. You want to kick a field goal, but they take it away from you.
We had to learn how to win.
Goal can't be in the last second of the game! And interesting conversations.
Because I'm one of the strongest girls ever, and I know that for a fact.
I just really enjoy writing gossip as if I was a bear.
With an old maid daughter that make the best moonshine in the coast.
And if it would have hit me in the face, I think I would have died. I really do.
I guarantee you would have died, man. Are you kidding me?
Welcome to the Now Hear This Canby podcast. Thanks for listening. I'm Martina Baker, and this is what's happening this week in our community. After months of COVID-induced delays and other bumps along the way, the new Canby Gateway Arch project is finally taking shape on downtown Grant Street. Inspired by the iconic Gateway Arch in Encinitas, California, the arch was officially set in place in mid-December, though it will be several months yet before it enters its final form. The Canby Gateway Arch is an exciting achievement for our city. City Administrator Scott Archer, no relation, told Now Hear This Canby. Once completed, the arch will be a landmark, announcing to residents and visitors that you have arrived in Canby, and in particular, to our downtown business core. The arch will be equipped with color-changing LED lighting designed to illuminate the pillars, arch, and the Canby sign each night while shining twin beacons skyward. Designed by Scott Edwards Architecture, the custom steel archway will serve as a place for local event signage and holiday display lighting. The stone columns will feature historical plaques sharing the curated history of Canby and have wraparound bench seating to help activate the streetscape. There was also a plan to include a time capsule in the original plans. The arch is one aspect of city leaders' continuing plans for revitalizing the community's economic and culturally important downtown core, with the hope that it will entice new and returning visitors to leave Highway 99E and explore some of Canby's independently owned stores, restaurants, cafes, and watering holes. The Gateway Arch is going to create a lasting impact and will be a focal point to be highlighted when people are talking about Canby, Archer said. I believe the arch will become an iconic symbol for the city of Canby. The arch, which was tied in with the Quiet Zone project, was funded by Urban Renewal Agency funds. Remaining elements yet to be completed are the stonework on the two arch columns, installation of the lettering and lighting of the arch, and installation of interpretive plaques on the columns. Archer said he anticipates the remaining arch elements will be completed and the Quiet Zone fully implemented by March. The exact date is dependent on weather and other factors. Canby State Representative Christine Drazen sent a letter to Governor Kate Brown last month denouncing her decision to commute prison sentences of individuals who committed violent crimes such as assault, rape, and murder as teenagers. The letter was signed by a dozen conservative officials in Clackamas County, including Canby Mayor Brian Hodson, Molalla Mayor Scott Kaiser, and other area mayors, members of the legislature, and county commissioners. My colleagues and I sent the letter to Governor Brown because we all share concerns over her decision to undermine Measure 11 and release violent criminals back into the community, Drazen wrote in an email, noting that Brown's office had acknowledged the letter but had not responded. Earlier this year, Brown commuted the sentences for more than 70 individuals who were convicted of violent or sexual crimes as teenagers between 1988 and 2019. The list includes 4 former Clackamas Countyans who were sentenced to life in prison as teenagers, including Tan Daniel Davia, who pleaded guilty to the brutal murder and attempted rape of a 22-year-old woman in 1991 when he was a junior at Canby Union High School. An additional list of juvenile offenders that will have a chance to petition for clemency includes about 25 people from Clackamas County after serving at least half of their sentence. The clemency order received a pushback from a number of elected officials across Oregon, citing concerns that victims of these crimes may be re-traumatized if offenders are released. Additionally, district attorneys and their victims were reportedly not made aware of these commutations until the lists were released by the media. By commuting the prison sentences of violent offenders, you are not only reversing the work of our justice system to keep our community safe, but you are prioritizing offenders and directly harming the victims and their families, the letter states. In 1994, Measure 11 was passed with overwhelming support, Drazen noted. Community members and victims depend on the implementation of Measure 11 to ensure that people who commit violent crimes do not reoffend and are held accountable for their actions. Brown's commutation order notes that youth are capable of tremendous transformation and should be reconsidered for release on parole and given a second chance. Releasing violent offenders to advance political priorities at the expense of victims and community safety is wrong, the letter states. We call on you to uphold the law, keep Oregonians safe, and stop abusing commutations to bypass existing processes for early release of offenders. Cases will be individually reviewed to determine eligibility for release on parole. Parole hearings are expected to begin in spring of 2022. Brown must grant clemency before her term in office ends in January 2023. Oregon is headed into the new year with a more contagious Omicron variant of COVID-19 spreading faster than expected, setting the stage for record hospitalizations through January, according to the latest forecast from Oregon Health and Science University. The forecast by Dr. Peter Graven, director of OHSU's Office of Advanced Analytics, reversed course from a more hopeful report issued just last week. He now projects the Omicron variant will make about 1,650 Oregonians so sick they will need hospital treatment. That total dwarfs the peak Oregon saw in September, with 1,187 people hospitalized. And that put such a strain on hospitals, they recruited out-of-state nurses and turned to the Oregon National Guard for help. The Oregon Health Authority reported that hospitalizations from the coronavirus have ticked up again, with 445 people hospitalized as of Friday for COVID, increasing by 36 in just 2 days. The total number of beds available Friday for all adult care in Oregon hospitals stood at 297. In an interview, Graven noted that the state has about 4,700 hospital beds and nearly all are already full. But the forecast indicates hundreds of new COVID patients are likely to require hospitalization in a surge that crests in late January. We don't have room, said Graven. Vaccination remains essential, he said. Hospitals in the East are reporting 3 unvaccinated people hospitalized for every vaccinated person admitted. About 65% of Oregonians have completed their original vaccination series. Governor Kate Brown in mid-December warned the state of the coming surge. She imposed no new restrictions, but instead set an ambitious goal to get 1 million more Oregonians boosted with a third shot by the end of January. Graven's forecast said research in Denmark showed that the booster was only about 50% effective at preventing an Omicron infection. However, he said, it has proven valuable in keeping people from getting so sick that they are hospitalized or even die. In his forecast, Graven noted that Oregon has been averaging about 12,000 booster shots a day. At that rate, the state wouldn't hit the governor's goal for another 2 months, long after the wave of Omicron has come and gone under the latest forecast. As of Friday, about 1 in 3 Oregonians has been boosted. The latest estimate of hospitalizations moves closer to the alarming forecast that prompted the governor to put the state on alert. That forecast projected 2,000 hospitalizations. The new forecast accounts for the more rapid spread and the Denmark research documenting that the Omicron infection rate is the same for vaccinated and unvaccinated individuals. The crucial difference, Graven emphasized, is the health impact, with those with vaccinations enduring less severe conditions. He said Oregonians should still follow COVID protocols, such as masking up. There's no reason to be indoors without a mask around someone who is high risk, such as elderly or immune compromised, Graven said. There may not be a hospital bed for them when they need it. The new forecast comes just before the holidays end, schools resume, and the workforce thinned by holiday vacations beef up again. What's ahead for Oregon may be what's been seen in other parts of the country where Omicron struck earlier. Hospital leaders in other states have resumed pleading with people to take steps to stop the spread as they face overwhelming caseloads and illness among their own workers. The Clackamas Community College Alexander Gallery is reopening to the public for its winter exhibition, and you could say it's about time, literally. The exhibit, which is called About Time, is a collection of works by artist Mel Ulven, comprised of multimedia collages, drawings, and paintings, primarily using reclaimed materials. The exhibit is a retrospective sampling 30 years in the making. About Time is the contemplation of time viewed through the lens of the indefinite, continued progress of existent and events, past, present, and future. Ulven was born in Moorhead, Minnesota, and grew up in the Willamette Valley. He attended the Museum Art School in Portland and was influenced by his instructors, Louis Bunsey, Eunice Parsons, Mike Russo, George Johansson, Manuel Esguerdo, Doug Lynch, and Robert Reynolds. An informal artist talk will be held from noon to 1 p.m. January 12th at the Alexander Gallery. The Alexander Gallery is located in Niemeyer Center on the Oregon City campus, 19600 Molalla Avenue, and is open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., except for holidays. This exhibition is free and will be open to the public through February 25th. Masks and social distancing are required. For more information on Clackamas Community College's art exhibits and performances, visit the Clackamas Community College website.
Are you a healthcare hero? Do you want to become one? Are you looking for a position where you are valued, your time is your own, and you have ample opportunity for growth? Marquee Companies at Hope Village in Canby, Oregon offers all of that and more. They are currently hiring nurses, caregivers, CNAs, and enrolling students in their free CNA course. From competitive wages and up to $25,000 tuition reimbursement to flexible schedules and the opportunity to make a positive impact on someone's life, Marquee at Hope Village is the right place for you. Take your career to the next level and apply now to become a valued team member at Marquee at Hope Village in Canby. To learn more or apply today, text CURRENT, that's CURRENT, to 888-906-3432.
Hey, Frankie, what are you doing?
I'm trying to figure out which TV option I want to use when DirectLink turns off their video services in January of next year. It's so confusing. Do you know there's about 48 million streaming services to choose from? Which devices do they work on? What channels do they offer?
No, I did not know that. But you do realize that you're probably better off than you think. If you have DirectLink's Easy Video TV now, you're already using a streaming service. But listen, you don't have to go this alone. DirectLink is actually helping their members transition to their next video provider. The company has an extensive informational website where you can compare popular services, and they host live tutorials on streaming TV options to help you decide.
Well, hold the phone. Are you saying that they're actively trying to help their members switch to a competing service? Who does that?
Well, DirectLink does. I mean, I guess it's one more chapter in their long history of wanting the best for our community. They've actually offered free classes for the past 12 years that teach our neighbors about the latest technology and internet security practices. And don't forget, they also orchestrated that popular bingo game last year that helped keep everyone entertained and connected during the lockdowns. They've also launched special programs to help keep our students connected at home during the pandemic, and partnered with the city of Canby to give free Wi-Fi year-round at 3 local parks for locals and visitors alike.
Wait, DirectLink does all that?
They do indeed, and that's on top of providing the best and most reliable internet and voice services in town. So, to learn more about DirectLink services or how they can help you transition to the right video service for your home, visit directlink.coop today.
right, joining us on the Canby Conversation today, our first interview post New Year. First chat of the New Year is Matt Morrissey, owner of Wayward Sandwiches and Siren Song, new bar downtown. Hi, Matt.
Hi,
Welcome
honored.
back.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, any big resolutions for 2022?
Wow. Nothing I can say on air.
Okay, fair enough. Oh, me neither. I just, at this point, after like 2 bad years, it's just like, I'm just gonna wait and see. I'm not gonna
think it's
anything.
so much a resolution as just like a hope, a prayer,
right,
for some return to normalcy.
Yeah. I just feel like an abused, like a battered spouse at this point. Like
exactly.
I can't trust anymore. I'm just gonna wait and see.
I think
just trying to survive.
I think we all feel that way. It's just enough.
Well, on that note, Siren Song, we're sitting here now.
Yeah.
And so if you guys hear a little background noise from time to time, this is a working bar, but how have things been going?
Great.
Holiday season.
Holiday season has been good. We've the space has been really well received
it looks amazing
by the community, and
Such
I
a
think
transformation.
Yeah, it's definitely different than the yoga studio. And we feel really good about what we're doing as far as the food and obviously the cocktails and the selection and we feel good about things that we have coming up on the horizon as well. So we are very optimistic about our future here for Siren Song.
Yeah, awesome. Opened in October. Did your ribbon cutting on Halloween, which you'd also done on Wayward Sandwiches.
Yes.
2 years earlier.
2 years earlier.
Yeah. There's been, kind of during your first period, there's been a lot of work on First Avenue and right here next to you guys, and intersection be open and closed. Do you feel like that affected you and some of the other businesses?
I'm sure it did. It's tough to say because we're so new. It's really tough to say how it affected.
You don't have anything to look at.
There's no. I think you'd probably get a better answer from talking to some of the other people around here. But no, I have no doubt it affected us. I just don't know if it dramatically, because for all the days that it was closed here on Grant, there's also days that it was closed on Ivy or Elm, where all the traffic is funneled right through here. Right. So I don't know. We're just happy to be through the first couple months, and you get that initial wave, and everybody comes and checks you out, and then inevitably there's a lull in the business, and then you start to kind of level off and do what start building the business in earnest, and we're in that stage now, which is good.
Yeah.
It's always you're always wondering what you're doing wrong with your life. Right after, why is everyone leaving us?
Right. We have 2 less guests today than we had yesterday. What did we do wrong? You've got that beautiful new Grant Street Arch going in there that's going to bring all the business, just funnel it straight to your door, like moths to flames. What do you think of the new arch?
I think it's great. I get. I get all sides of the argument. I do, but ultimately, it's something that I think once people stop grousing about it, and once it becomes functional and it's lit up for the season and things like that, I think it's a really nice touch. I think what it does do is it draws attention to downtown. Yeah. And as this downtown area really hits its stride, which it's in the next year or two, it's already there to a certain degree, but it's just over the next couple of years as more of these spaces become renovated and inhabited for hospitality and food and beverage. This downtown area is going to become very vibrant. It's going to have a lot of hustle and bustle, a lot of people walking around, a lot of people using the park, and I think it's great. So anything that draws attention to that is neat. And I think that once it's all lit up and does all the things that it's supposed to do, I think people will be really happy with it.
Yeah. I think that's how it always tends to go with public art, is people kind of complain about it and it's useless, why are we wasting money on this? And then once it becomes part of life, people tend to enjoy it. I probably gripe about the Eiffel Tower and things like that as well. So.
Yeah, and that's just it, is that as it becomes part of the fabric of things, I think that whatever. Everyone hated the Dahlia. I'm sure a lot of people still hate the Dahlia building. But
yeah, that's different. I'm not sure people soft on that.
But you know, I mean, it again, like it's brought, you know, movement and life to the downtown area, and you know, I know that everybody. A lot of those same people rue the end of Parsons and places like that, which is truly sad. But that's sort of the old, you know, downtown business model was based around those like pharmacy sort of one-stop shopping stores. Well, when Fred Meyer's and Amazon and all those other places put all those things out of business, then you know, the only other thing that's really there to revitalize these downtown areas is sort of hospitality. And then as soon as you get people walking around and going to the restaurants and the bars and all that stuff, then you see all the other little shops fill up because there's enough foot traffic to support the window shopping.
Right.
So I think that the future of downtown Canby is already bright, but it just has a very, you know, a very bright future.
Yeah, yeah. And people do underestimate, they're like, oh, you know, what's the point of an arch? But just anything that, even if it doesn't, you know, it's sort of a more of a background thing, but that gives your eyes something to look at, and it makes you feel better walking around. When you have interesting things to look at, and you just get this sense of vibrancy. And I think that's really what we're going for here. It's sort of more of a subtle thing, but it is real, and it does matter. So.
No, for sure.
So Siren Song, obviously food and drinks. What do we want to talk about first?
Well, I mean, let's talk about the food a little bit. Yeah. I think that's been one of the things that maybe people haven't expected or haven't known about. You know, I think right from the beginning, people have sort of embraced the idea of this being a cocktail bar or a whiskey bar or whatever people wanted to call it, and that's what we were, you know, calling it too. But I don't think people have expected the food to be as ambitious as it is, and you know, Chef Justin is doing an amazing job, and the food here is really, I mean, it is I would say, you know, by far the most ambitious menu around here. I don't know anybody else that's you know, doing sort of the fresh oysters and Schweinochse and all the other things that we're doing here, and scallops and what have you.
It's very like old school pub food, like from like pub food now is like, you know, like fries.
Chicken tenders, and buffalo wings.
But no, like more like the old country kind of pub, like handmade, you know, home cooked food, kind of comfort food. Yeah,
like kind of elevated comfort food. I mean, you know, some of these items like the Schweinochse is a pork shank. It's a German style preparation where you keep the skin on, and it's enormous hunk of meat. The way we prepare it and roast it, it's you know, we want the food to be shared. You know, but it doesn't have to be either, right? Like, so what we're really aiming for, you know, is food that is elevated, but at the same time accessible, great to share with people. Also, you know, but also, you know, if you just want to come in by yourself and chow down. But I think we're finding that there is a market for that here. We weren't 100% sure what was gonna, but the food's been really well received, and I think as more people come here that don't know, you know, or didn't know to expect that, they are pleasantly surprised and by what they're getting.
Yeah. What are some of the specific dishes other than the
Schweinochse
that you can talk about?
Yeah, well, you know, certainly the oysters. So we do an oyster and champagne happy hour, and if you've never had champagne and oysters, that's why we were trying to educate the masses. It's they're amazing together, and
raw oysters.
Raw oysters on the half shell. Yeah. So we get these amazing oysters from typically what we've been getting is Puget Sound, Washington Puget Sound oysters. We sometimes can get stuff from the Oregon coast or British Columbia, but local, regional oysters. We don't get necessarily the super huge ones that are the ones we get tend to be a little, tend to be a little sweeter and a little friendlier for oysters on the half shell than some of the ones that can be real kind of briny and funky. Those are a hit for sure, and it's something that I think that a lot of people haven't really experienced in a way, or if they have, it's been like oyster shooters, and I think that getting oysters on a half shell when they're super fresh is a totally different experience. A lot of times, like the oyster shooters, they come in. I mean, not that you want to know how the sausage is made, but like they're already shucked and they come in like these 5-gallon buckets of oysters, and so like they just sort of the restaurant will plop one in a shot glass with a little cocktail sauce and a lemon, and there you go. Whereas this is like we're shucking them to order ourselves. They literally the supply chain from getting harvested to us is they're on ice and it's happening as fast as possible, and
hours.
And we're selling them fast enough that everyone's getting a really the product at its best.
So what do you sort of do to convince somebody to try it if they're kind of
I mean, that's usually there is peer pressure is the best way. So somebody will come in that loves oysters and they'll make their friends do it.
Gotcha.
It's hard for us to convince anybody because people are automatically like, well, you're biased. You're trying to sell your oysters.
Right.
But
oyster salesmen, you're all the same.
I know, exactly. But the people who do try them are like, either if they may have tried them before and they weren't their cup of tea. It tends to work out. There are people that just are not having it, and that's fine.
I love an oyster.
Some of the other sort of main dishes, we make these jalapeno poppers that are not your traditional, so they're not deep fried. We take and split whole jalapenos and de-seed them, and then we stuff them essentially with this mix of pork and bacon and all this other stuff, and cheese, mascarpone cheese, and then we roast it in a 500 degree oven for a specific amount of time, and it comes out and it is like they're amazing. They truly like decadent bar food. And those have been a huge hit. People have gone crazy for that. The wings that we make in-house are, we marinate in this really kind of quirky, fun marinade for a couple days. And then they come out and we do the same thing. So they're not deep fried like your average wings. We roast those at in a convection oven at 500 degrees, and that then gets tossed in a house-made orange marmalade. And so the marinade that we're sort of curing it in has fish sauce and a little bit of this herb called achiote, which is like how they make pastor tacos in Mexican cooking. And so you just the flavors are like really all over the place and intense, but it's so good. The wings are incredible, and those have been a huge hit. And then we do, we have a couple different scallop dishes. We have a Caesar with Gulf prawns that we make in house. And you
guys have the best Caesar dressing. It's amazing.
Yeah, well, that's amazing. But the Gulf prawns are, again, it's a more expensive product. It's from the United States. They're not from the Philippines or South America, but they're a superior product. And to us, it's worth it to, and again, the proof is in the pudding. People are responding to it. And then, but we're we've also got some desserts going. We've been doing cheesecake in-house, Grand Marnier cheesecake. We've been doing, We did a flourless chocolate cake. We've been doing creme brulee. The goal.
Flourless chocolate cake. So
it's like a tort.
Okay.
Kind
like
of.
a pudding.
Really, yeah. But like a not liquidy like a pudding.
I just feel like there would be a name for that, and not flourless cake.
Yeah, tort is kind of.
Okay. But nobody knows what that
we're
is.
Always trying. We're always trying to make things, if we can, gluten free.
Yeah,
just
sure.
because.
Yeah.
Because number one, it's not. It doesn't. Honestly, very rarely does it. With the exception of like pasta. It doesn't detract. I mean, there's enough good gluten free stuff out there that it doesn't detract from the flavor at all.
And welcome back to the ad sponsor section, where I get to talk to people about books, because I always drag Megan Waterman in here to be with me. Hi, Megan.
Hi.
How's it going?
That's not a bad thing. Talking about books is always the best time.
I think you know of all people that I can talk about books endlessly.
I do.
Yeah. So, Megan, do you want to tell our listeners about what's going on down at the Book Nook?
At the Book Nook, we are getting ready for the holidays.
Yeah.
I know.
There's only one I care about. And by the time this ad comes out, it's basically over.
Are you talking about Halloween?
Yeah, I like spooky, scary stories.
I know you do. We've got a lot of great spooky, scary stories in right now.
Yeah? Yeah?
We do, but spooky, scary stories are also good for Christmas. Do you have a favorite author that writes spooky, scary stories that are appropriate for Christmas?
You go with your classic Charles Dickens, right?
Yep.
Some Christmas Carol stuff.
Absolutely, that's my favorite.
That's the best. There's M.R. James. I know about him. He did a whole series of short scary stories for Christmas.
Short scary stories. I don't know. Christmas in general is kind of scary. It depends on how many people you have to buy for.
How many people you have to cook dinner for.
Right.
Speaking of cooking dinner, Thanksgiving is coming up.
Thanksgiving is coming. We have got some beautiful cookbooks in recently, and some really cute kids cookbooks just came in if you want to start cooking with your grandkids, or starting to train up your little ones to cook Thanksgiving dinner so you can just sit on the couch and watch football.
And right now is the time to go in, right?
Yes.
Because waiting until Christmas Eve for that one special book that someone wants isn't going to work out.
It's not going to be there. This year, it's no secret, the last year and a half has been a little crazy for the whole world. And that is really going to affect Christmas this year. There are going to be serious stock issues this year. So get your Christmas shopping done early. We've been working really hard to get as much inventory on our shelves and in our overstock as possible, so that we have what you want at Christmas time. But if you know now a title that you want to buy for somebody for Christmas, get it now.
All right.
I might not be able to get it later.
And what is all three of ours, because we also have Amy in the studio with us. What's all three of ours this season's book recommendation?
Okay.
Amy, what's your book recommendation for this season?
The Night Before Christmas.
All right. Yeah, that's classic. Megan?
And for me, my favorite Christmas read? Okay, my favorite book that's coming out, it's no secret, I am an Outlander fan. I love Diana Gabaldon. There may be a cardboard cutout of Jamie Fraser in our bookstore. Book boyfriends are a thing.
Yeah.
And finally, book 9 is coming out towards the end of November. So you will not see me until I finish reading that.
And mine is the Dungeons and Dragons Feast of Legends, or whatever, the table. So make sure you guys come on down to Book Nook. Megan, where are you guys located?
We are on the corner of Grant and 2nd in downtown Canby.
All right.
And now, a message from Donna Ellison of Ellison Team Homes.
Hi, everyone. I wanted to take this moment to invite you personally to come and hang out with us for our end of season client event. It's a thank you to all the wonderful people we've done business with, as well as a welcome to a lot of our community. I'm doing this in partnership with Vanessa Zimmerman team at Academy Mortgage. It's just kind of our way of saying thank you. We've really enjoyed getting to know you, doing business with you, etc. We'll be outside. We're sensitive to the fact that we're in COVID, still dealing with that. So it will be spread out. People will have room to breathe and sit and walk and talk. Reckless Company, if you've never heard them before, they're awesome. They're going to be playing. We'll have TMK here. I can't wait to try the corn dog. I've been waiting like 2 years to try this corn dog. So it looks amazing, and I've heard it's amazing, and I think there's quite a following. Also, they'll have all kinds of other food. We'll have beer and cider. Everything's hosted, of course, as a thank you. Again, it's for our clients. It's for our community. We really, really want to come and celebrate. We'll have swag for you, all kinds of fun things for the kids. We hope to see you on 9/16 from 4 to 8 in the afternoon.
The goal going into the new year is to, I think, be having new things cycling through. Not, we don't want the menu to be stagnant. Like we do specials over at the sandwich shop. We'll have constantly churn through specials here as well, so there'll always be something kind of new to check out if people are coming in from time to time.
Yeah, very true. So obviously listeners can tell just from that, if they haven't been in, what you were saying before, how ambitious you guys went with this menu, which is incredible. The food is so good. I want to ask you why. I mean, I just keep thinking, like, it would have been so much easier to just, like, have a fryer.
No, right. It just, I think that for both Justin and myself, we want to do stuff that, to me, going out a lot of times means getting something that you can't do at your house, right? Like, or you can't do it as well, or whatever. And I feel like, a lot of times people don't do that anymore. I feel like a lot of times people just go out to eat, and they were like, in your, and we really want, whether, if you're going out to eat or drink or just having an experience somewhere, we want it to be a little different. We want it to be, not the same old. And so some people want the same old, and that's fine. Like, we're not taken away from that ever. There's plenty of places that are doing that. And, but if you want to do something different, if you want to try, the cocktails here are awesome, and they're gonna, an old fashioned's gonna be an old fashioned, but ours is gonna be, ours. It's gonna be a little different. It's gonna be, we're gonna put a little more time and care. We're gonna use a little bit better ingredient. We're gonna make all of those. Take all those little things that we can and we want to do, but not in a way that's pretentious. We're never trying to be, we're no better than anybody else. We're not trying to say that we're, we just want, this is the type of place that we would like to go out to, right? And so that's what I know to do, is to do what I like, and so ultimately, hopefully enough people will like what we do, and they'll like it too. And that's, but it's just offering something that's different that isn't out there is what we're trying to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think we have time on this podcast to talk about all the different special drinks and cocktails that you guys do. We'll talk about a few specifics, but kind of like you did with the food, sort of overall with the menu and the selection, what were you going for?
No, I mean, we wanted it to be an upscale liquor selection. There really isn't that around here, so we wanted to have a really nice bourbon and scotch and rye, as well as gin and tequila and all the different spirits. We wanted to have a nice selection for people to choose from, which I think we do. And we wanted to make really solid fundamental cocktails. And that's what we do. We make our sours with egg whites. We squeeze all of the juices are fresh. All the lemon, lime, grapefruit, orange, all that gets squeezed fresh here. We don't buy it in.
Doing it earlier before we started recording.
Exactly. So, and we make a lot of the the different things that we, the syrups and stuff like that, we're making ourselves, and that that really shows up at the end. There's no substitute for fresh, and so we. That's really the main thing, I would say. That and excellent service. We've got an incredible staff here, and we're getting another one of our old friends, Greg, who will be running this place. He's finally back from his knee surgery coming up soon. So that'll be exciting to have him, gelling with an already amazing team.
Back on his 2 feet.
But I think people are really. We've started building a strong regular clientele in here that love the team that we've got, and so we anticipate things will just get better and better, and then hopefully we'll get lottery soon, and then I know the locals here are big fans of that. So that should help.
That'll help with the foot traffic for sure. What are some specific drinks that you like to?
So our number one seller by far is the old fashioned. So people responded very positively to our version of that. And we use the Big Rock for that. And then, but as far as fun other cocktails, we do a cocktail called the Siren Song, which involves putting a fresh oyster in the martini itself. And that drink has a little bit of kind of like an ocean brine element to it. And some of my favorites, though, are we've got a handful of sort of old Prohibition era speakeasy cocktails that people may not have had before. Drinks like the Sazerac or the Last Word, and some of those drinks, even though you've never maybe heard of them or they sound weird. They've got ingredients like absinthe or chartreuse or something like, they're really delicious. And I think if people are willing to branch out, and we've had a number of people who are just kind of working their way through the cocktail menu. But if people are willing to branch out, I think that they'll find.
It is weird that so many of those cocktails, they are so good and so kind of well constructed, well designed, I guess, for palate. That so many of them have kind of fallen out of style, I guess, because some of them are probably a little more painstaking to make.
There's a lot of little technique.
Getting the egg white and
the way that you do it, and or the way that you shake it, or the way that you filter it, or rinsing things with different drink or different alcohols. And there's like a lot of little nuances to doing those drinks and doing them well, but they're not necessarily what you would drink every day, but like for a special occasion, or you're going out, or just giving it just trying something different. And I think that's something that people are starting to really latch onto too, is like, they come in, they have an experience, maybe they have what they're used to having, and they're comfortable and they like what they're having. So the next time they come in, they're like, all right, well, if the things I like are done well here, maybe all the other things that I haven't tried before will be good too. And so I think people are starting to kind of branch out and trusting us like they did at the sandwich shop. That regardless of what it is, if we're going to put it on the menu, it'll be good.
It'll hold up, you make your own bitters, I think?
We are working on the bitters.
What are bitters?
So bitters are essentially a blend of like herbs and flowers, aromatics, citrus peels.
It's a liquid.
Pits and stems, but so it's typically what happens.
You steep the liquid in that.
You steep, So you typically what happens is that you take a base spirit, whether it's like a grain like Everclear or whatever, you know what I mean, or it could be anything. And you steep, like you say, the spirit with all these things. Essentially, you at whatever point, you treat it however. There's a million different ways to do it. Right. Some people, just leave it in a jar for however long. Some people will do certain things to it, certain processes and things to get what they're trying to achieve as far as the flavor goes. But at the end of the day, once it's sort of, brewed, for lack of a better term, it typically, the bitters are not distilled themselves.
Yeah.
So typically it is just a matter of like sort of marinating, but there are certainly the thing about alcohol is that there's a million different ways to do all of this stuff.
Yeah.
But the end product is typically a product that is got a very heavy flavor, very strong flavored, and as the term bitters would allude to, usually there's a bitter quality to it.
Right.
So a lot of those bitter type things, and sometimes they're not always bitter, like Jägermeister is a very kind of heavily sweetened, same idea though, like there's a lot of the flavors are kind of roots and different things that aid in digestion.
Yeah.
Or stimulate the appetite. So aperitifs, the idea with aperitif is that it stimulates your appetite and gets kind of gets things moving, and then a digestif is the idea is that it's aiding in the digestion of the food.
Like for dessert. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So a lot of those things are just little elements that are kind of hit into a cocktail, maybe traditionally to do that, to help do all those different functions, but they're always in very small amounts because the flavors are so strong that you wouldn't, it would just be...
Right, you wouldn't drink like a cup of that.
No,
yeah,
it would be not pleasant.
Yeah.
Unless, whatever. There's somebody out there does it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But, sometimes people like the vermouths and those things on the rocks too. So you never can tell.
Yeah. Yeah. But you guys are looking at doing that.
No, we've got a couple experiments going.
Yeah.
When we got open, we wanted to do it, and then we just found there was no time between everything, and we wanted
quite a time-consuming process.
It is. Yeah. Well, to do it right, I'm sure we'll have a couple failed experiments before we hit exactly what we want.
Right.
But yeah, no, it's.
Yeah.
There's there'll be a lot of things like that. We're gonna work on a bunch of fun little things as we get going with this, and once we've sort of got the formula locked in and everything's firing on all cylinders, and we have a little bit of time to look up and breathe. It's just been such a race to get the place open, and then through the holidays, and so we'll see. Hopefully, the first couple months of the year, we'll have a little bit of time to work on some fun things. But yeah, we're
awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, thanks, Matt, so much for taking time out to talk to us today. Love what you guys are doing. Siren Song is on Facebook and Instagram. And what's the website?
So it's sirensongbar.com, and then it's Siren Song Bar is the handle for Twitter and Facebook. Or not Twitter, Instagram and Facebook as well.
Yeah, Rocky Balboa.
Yeah. Justin's beating something up.
The Canby Now podcast is brought to you in part by the Wild Hair Saloon, where Canby goes to eat and have fun. Lifelong Canby residents Darren and Joan Monin founded the Wild Hair 16 years ago, and as their business has grown and expanded, they've continued to give back to the community they love. They're one of the biggest supporters of school activities, youth sports, local events, and even this podcast. They have a heart for Canby, plain and simple.
They also have some of the best food and drinks on the planet.
Did I forget to mention that?
No, it's all right. I'm going to mention it. It's no accident that residents voted them the best restaurant and best service through the Canby Area Chamber of Commerce last year. Happy hour daily from 3 to 6. Kids eat free on Mondays, live music and breakfast on the weekends. And they have great salads and other healthy options to help you keep your New Year's resolutions. Check them out just off of Highway 99E next to the Space Age in Canby at 1656 Beaver Creek Road in Oregon City, or on their website, thewildhairsaloon.net. Now Hear This Canby is produced by me, Tyler Clausen. Our content director and star reporter is Tyler Frankie. And of course, our show is edited by Cameron Clausen. We also feature the vocal talents of Joyce Struby and James Walden, so a round of applause to them. The song that you're hearing right now is Canby by singer-songwriter Olivia Harms, used with her permission. To find more work from her, you can visit her website olivia13.com.
Now Hear This Canby is dedicated to preserving independent local journalism and redefining local news with our fun, fresh, and energetic brand of storytelling. Our sincere thanks to our local sponsors who make this show possible. Please show your appreciation by supporting the small businesses who support us.
The production of Now Hear This Studios, Canby's locally owned full-service audio, video, and media production company. Our mission is to produce the best content in the universe, and we'd love to help you do it. Find us online at nhtstudios.com.
I will take a motion to adjourn.
I just moved it.
I didn't even ask for it, though.